Thank you to our 4 sponsors for supporting our podcast: Johnny Russell's Art Caterers and Milltown Pies, Alexander Great's Law, Jez and Lisa's Spoonful of Sweets, and SPE Furnishings. Links to their websites are available in the show notes and on our website. Don't forget to subscribe to get all the latest episodes as soon as they're released.
Right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Housecast. It's the second episode where we talk about the games that have gone on in the previous couple of weeks. We weren't sure how this would go after we recorded the first one, but crikey, I've been watching a few of the first team games over the last 2 weeks, and the feedback is fantastic. So it's looking like it's working, chaps. So really pleased, and thanks very much for your contributions to it. We'll move on to talking about, we've got 3 games to talk about that were actually played. One game that was cancelled because of an issue with COVID at Accrington, which was a real shame. But we'll come on to that as we discuss the various games prior to it and then on the build-up to it. Got our 3 great hosts with me today. Joe Martin, Joe Beneducci and Gary are with us. And then we've got a guest on. We're going to try and do this every now and again. Someone who's had a significant performance or has had a poor performance, or we just want to get them on to talk about, to help us out with what's going on in the dressing room or during the game. So this evening we've got Dean Barlow on with us. So if I'll just ground the co-host first. Joe Martin, we've met up a couple of times at the club between us, and we've had a good conversation at weekend. How's it going for you now that summer's properly here?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been fine. It's nice to be at the cricket club a lot, operating from my own dressing room, which is fine.
The dressing room in the West End, or do you move from the West End to have your shower in the dressing room? Or
No, I operate solely from this West End room on home games, yeah.
Right.
Bless had to ring me up because we were doing fines on the field, and I was obviously not privy to it. So he had to ring me up to come out and get it. Right,
I see. So you stopping there on your own, everyone else, so the other 21 players and scorers and everyone else has to cram into that small dressing room, and you stopping there on your own?
To be fair, Jez, I think it's what everybody wants.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it could be. But you're looking well.
Thank you.
You're playing well, and it's good to catch up with you. Also, we've got Joe Beneducci. How's it going, Dooch?
Thanks, Jez. Good. Just a bit concerned about which scorers did you have in changing room with you when you were playing?
Stuart Gaynor.
Okay. Steph Blezard, maybe. No,
Steph Blezard used to just come drinking with us.
Right.
And the odd occasions drank Stan under the table, but that's for another story. That's another story at Rishton. So everything's going great, Dooch. I think you're with me when we're enjoying watching the cricket. We sat together, we can have a beer in the fresh air. It's such a refreshing change. So good to see you, Dooch. Once again, Gary, nice to see you. Gary Morehouse is with us to look from afar as to how things are going. How's things going down the south, Gaz?
Yeah, we're all good, Jez. We're all good. Managed to watch a bit of cricket as well. You guys, got a couple of games at Clitheroe were streamed, weren't they? So watched the T20 and a lot of the second innings run chase. So that were good.
Yeah, in the league game. No, and we will talk about that afterwards. It'd be interesting to see what Joe and Dean think of that as players and how we could progress it at the cricket club. We've had a few ideas, but Joe Beneducci keeps poo-pooing them. But we'll move on from the hosts, and we'll just we've got Dean Barlow on just to talk about the games and how he is and how he's performing, and just to give Joe Martin a little bit of support when maybe we give a bit of grief about how the game's gone or how the players are. So, Dean, really appreciate you coming on. Thanks very much for giving up your evening. How's it going?
Good, thanks, Jez. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I know it's you're more than welcome. It'd be good to see, and we're going to try and do this more. It's great having Joe Martin on to talk things through with, but to have someone else on it really does work. So, Dean, just very briefly, just introduce you because there's some of the podcasters that that don't really understand a great deal. So just talk through your cricketing career. You came to play for Lowerhouse in, I think, 2017. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
great.
research, that, Jez.
Cheers. Thanks, Duke. Thank you. And prior to that, you were at Rottenstall.
I was, yeah. So
that's right, correct. So just tell us what your career at Rottenstall, how that went. Some good lads there, and it's a great wicket. Small ground. How did you find playing cricket at Rottenstall, and then what brought you to coming to Lowerhouse?
Yeah, it was great. I still have a big place in my heart for Rottenstall. I still go and watch them when we're not playing, and still got a lot of mates that play there as well. And it is, as far as grounds to play on, purely for the ground, for the wicket, the dimensions, it's brilliant. Couldn't be better as a batter.
Batter's paradise, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I made my debut in 2009, then didn't play again until maybe 2011, and then played on and off then for a few years, and then maybe 2013 onwards played pretty consistent first team cricket. And moved in the end more maybe just a difference of ideas, really. It was something that cricket is still and was something that I take reasonably seriously. And wanted to be in an environment where that was sort of mirrored by everybody else. And without getting too deep into it, I didn't feel as though that was quite the case from only from an on-field perspective, maybe. Yeah. Especially during the 2016 season.
Right.
And I'm and have been very good friends with Joe Hawke for quite a long time.
Right.
And so basically had a conversation with him, who then put me on to Stan, and then ended up here in 2017.
Brilliant. And it's, it's good to see that, we can attract players from other clubs, certainly good players that have got first team experience, because, right through my career, that didn't happen. We didn't get any players coming in, certainly from the Lancashire League. I think it's fair to say, Gary, we had Paul Webb. I don't know if you remember Webb. Were you playing there, guys?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and the likes of Chris Scott, but that was all through police, really. And, as a result of that, this lot took the piss out of me a little
Mark
bit.
Whelan had a season, didn't he?
Mark Whelan.
From Enfield. Yeah, he played, didn't he, and smashed it for us.
Sid?
But then, where Sid played at Nelson, did he?
I don't know. Did he play at Nelson first?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let me get me to my point, Joe. So anyway, we did have a little bit of. We were always backs against the wall, and at Lowerhouse, we were, we had to fight for things because we were always bottom of the league or whatever. So we had a real, people who kept flitting from club to club, various people who, remain nameless, that would leave us and go to Burnley. I always had this chip on my shoulder of, let's play for one club, and then you've got the likes of Blaise, and then you've got all the rugrats that came through. So, but it is refreshing to see players come through, and certainly quality players that play in the first team. I'm just wondering, Dean, whether you should look at changing your photo on the Lancashire League profile.
I've changed it. Hang on. Have you checked it in the last 2 weeks? I've changed it now.
Have you? No, I've got it up here now. You look like a young Harry Styles. Harry Styles, about 7.
Are you sure? He took a new one a few weeks ago, and I'm sure he changed it. But
it's still on there. Is that? But it's good to see.
I need to. If he does change it, I need to get him to email it to me, because I need to keep it. It'll come useful in some capacity, I would imagine, for someone.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Joe Beneducci always bollocks me because I talk about photos and videos and things, and we're on a podcast, so we will try and get that tweeted out, that photo, just of one of our guests. So anyway, enough of the ramblings and talking about the historical stuff. We'll start talking and looking at the games that have occurred over the last few weeks. And I think I'm right in saying, since our last podcast, the first game after that was the Clitheroe away 2020. So if we can just have a little chat about that. First of all, I think I'll start off with you, Joe Martin. Just talk us through the build-up to the game. It was a glorious evening, nice and fine. Just tell me about the build-up and the warm-up, and if there was any issues prior to the game.
I don't know if I can talk about this. There were I think I got there at probably 10 to 5. I set off quite early because I forgot the way to go. Because usually you go over the Nick of Pendle, don't you? But I went through I went through Whalley because I forgot. But anyway, I got there at 10 to 5 and I got all my stuff on, and there were not many.
How's the game start, Joe?
6:15. I got into a real good frame of mind, and there weren't many people that were there, including Clitheroe people.
Before kick-off, why would there be anybody there?
Well, you'll see that the fact that I was there on time, well ahead of time, was essential. So people came in dribs and drabs as they do at 2020 nights. A few people had been working. Some people had been working longer than others, I think, by all accounts. And that led to some people or someone being late, quite late, significantly late. They had to bat a bit further down the order.
Right.
So the warm-up was interesting. I was hitting balls to people. I mean, to get ready for a 2020 night, that's not what we need, is it? To get for a high ball in the sky is not a hit from me. So we did a bit of that. And then we won the toss and battered, I think, Dean.
Yeah, we did bat, yes.
Yeah. It was a really good wicket.
It was surprisingly good.
It was very good. It was like tarmac.
Right.
It was very, very good. Hard. And I think there was, with the pink ball, because the pink ball is also really hard, it was a really good wicket to bat on. We had no Johnny Whitehead because he was in Scotland. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Johnny wasn't there.
Yeah, Johnny wasn't there.
But Finchy played. Right.
Yeah, Francois opened and Ben. I mean, I fully understand, and I obviously led into the question about how did the warm-up go and everything else. And it can't be out sometimes. People are working and people are going to be late, whether they are, someone who's going to field or the captain or the pro. And I fully understand that. And I think I got there after about 4 overs and Ben was run out. And I think Francois was already out. So Dean was in. Yeah. Charlie had just come in when I was there. And I don't want this to sound arsey because Ben will be on my case if I do. I just, sometimes it just shows, doesn't it, the preparation is a lot for, even for if when you can't be helped if people are going to be late, it does count for a lot. And there's no two ways. And you don't need to answer this question, but it clearly did affect the start of the game, I'm guessing. I
think, as many people know, I'm not a big fan of 2020 cricket, Jez.
No, you're not. You don't like
all the Lancashire Cup.
No.
But my issue with 2020 cricket is that it's a rush. You're rushing all the time. You're rushing to get there. You don't do a proper warm-up. Then you're rushing in between overs because you've got to get everything sorted. And I don't rush through life. So I don't think I should rush through a game of cricket.
But that's the idea of 2020 is to...
Yeah, but I'm leisurely, Jez.
It's not about Joe Martin. It's about the fans. It's about people who want to bring their families on and
exactly.
be done and dusted in 3 hours.
And that's the benefit of the 2020. I'm just talking from a purely playing side. The things that you gain from 2020 cricket far outweigh my grievances with it.
Yeah. So you accept that. So things are a bit of a rush. Just talk us through Ben's run out because I didn't see that.
Dean, you might have to say it because I wasn't watching.
Francois knocked one into the offside, then said yes, no. And then Ben was halfway down. Ben was, if you watch it on the video, Ben's actually further than halfway down. So Ben ran about 1.2 runs, and Francois never got going. So it probably was just a 1, but I mean, yes or no to begin with would have been nice.
Yeah, Francois was adamant he didn't say yes, and everybody else was adadamant that he said yes.
Absolutely, definitely.
Yeah. So it's not a great start. So you've gone in, Dean. If you can come in here and just explain. I mean, we know they've got a good side. They've got some decent opening bowlers, and then they've got some lads who bowl spin. The track was good. Was it coming on? Were you hitting through the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it was coming on. I actually noticed it a little bit more with flat batted shots more than straight bat shots, to be perfectly honest, because Marcus Sharp's really difficult to get away in the beginning, and so it's when he gives you a bit of width and just throw your hands through it was quite nice. And then they had an off spinner ball from the top end to begin with when I first got in. Couldn't massively get him away, and then they had Sam Halstead came on, who bowls not quick, but he bowls at a reasonable pace, and it was really, really, really coming through. Surprisingly so, lifting off a length and coming through. What is to most people that don't play on puddings every week quite nicely, probably. But when you've not played on one of them for quite a while, it was a bit shocking us. So it was definitely a few top edges and a few other things knocking around.
Yeah, no, but you played some great shots. You ended up getting 30 off only 24 balls, and I think we did get a good momentum going through that. I mean, Dooch, you were watching as well. We had a catch up. Do you agree with that? Obviously a poor start, but I think to get to 139 was a fair effort.
Yeah, agreed. It was obviously an awful start, and things can go very badly from them kind of starts sometimes. Yeah. But no, I thought we did well to get 140, 139.
Yeah, and everyone worked it around, and I think Paddy, made sure he held it together in the middle there, and Toxie batted very well for his 25. So I think it was a good performance there.
I must say, Jez, Toxie has batted extremely well. We know that he can bat, but he's batted extremely well these past few weeks, and he's been working on his batting, and he's a real asset to have. He batted well on this Sunday as well. So I saw that. The one thing that surprised me, and Joe and Joe, comment if you will on this. Certainly, Joe Martin has been a stumper. I thought certainly in the last maybe 5 or 8 overs, Kyle O'Connor stood up to Halstead. Now, like you said, Dean, he's not absolutely rapid, but it comes through. The slope. It was bowling with the slope, and I think we got at least 4 byes and then 4 wides and then maybe 4 leg byes off him. It seemed a bit strange that being stood up.
There was his first over that he bowled. He stood up, which to me, when Sharpie at his pace and fair enough, he's tall, but when he was having it come through the way that he was, I was surprised to see Kyle stood up. And then there was 4 byes first ball or leg byes. Then he bowled. That might have been a free hit. No, sorry. Then he bowled 4 leg side wides. Then it was a free hit that I tried to scoop and didn't get anywhere near, and that went for 4 byes as well. So Sam's bowled a half decent over there and gone for maybe 16. And
it did. It did. It was quite strange that. Joe Martin, is that something that did you notice or?
I don't know. It depends on the dynamic of the team, I think.
Were you not watching again?
Well, this is going to be an issue for the game on Sunday as well, because I did about 30 laps. Didn't see any of it. But I always get told whether I have to stand up or not, or whether they want me to stand back. It's never a decision I make. So if they saw it as, but Dean doesn't really advance down the track, and he hits from a really solid base. There's no real need for him to. But he's a good keeper, Kyle. So
Oh, he is. He's fantastic. Yeah, he's a great player.
So
I think for me it was odd to see it at that from bowling from the top end. I think it's easier, not as a keeper, obviously, but I think it's probably easier to stand up at the top end, Joe. Is that right? Where it's not quite coming through.
I'd say so. Yeah. It's quite a strange place to keep on, to be honest with you.
It's quite a strange place to field on as well.
Because the outfield is rock hard, isn't it? But it's like, it doesn't undulate. It's like, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. It's like lots of...
Like corrugated iron?
It's horrendous, but really hard. Diving on it's not a...
So we got to 139, so they need 140, 7 over. We're in with a shout there. We are, a decent bowling side. Certainly got Finchy playing there. There's, quality bowlers in there. How did you feel at half time between you two? Between in the dressing room from the players.
Do you want to take that, Joe? Or?
Can do. I think it was a good score. I think on there, and as we said, it was a good wicket, but going at around 7 and overs not always easy with the good bowling attack. We just needed a few things to go right, because they have a very destructive batting as well. Their Pro's a good player and Tom Lord's a good player and people like that. So,
do either of you want to comment on how angry Ben was?
No. He's run out.
Just in general, he looked like a very angry man to me watching when I was watching him field.
That's every week, that Dooch.
All right, he looked angrier than normal.
Was it Friday that he threw the 4-byes, or was that some?
Please don't call them 4-byes. They were overthrows.
Sorry, whatever it was, overthrows. Sorry.
It must have been Sunday. I don't remember that.
Sunday, yeah. Sunday, I think he wasn't particularly pleased with his run out.
Yeah.
Because he didn't think he was out.
No, I know. It looked to me as though he got back, actually. So I can imagine he was a little bit annoyed about that.
I couldn't see
because you weren't watching.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the umpire had a camera on.
Yeah, that was a bit odd.
He had a camera on to video for poor behaviour.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. Someone asked him where it went, Jez, and he said. And he sort of like tapped the camera and went, "Oh, it's just for the private collection." And everyone was a bit like,
weird.
That's a bit strange. I did see at one stage one of the umpires fell out with Holstead.
Yeah.
It was all on camera, Jez.
Yeah.
Was it the same umpire?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, same umpire, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, well, let's see if that footage ever raises its head. So like you said, Tom Lord, he's a good player, ex-Nelson captain. Played at Nelson for quite a while and then went to Clitheroe. And he didn't get. I think he got 6, didn't he? So we got him out early on.
Yeah.
And then is it Stuart Lemon or
Stuart? It was, yeah.
Stuart,
yeah.
Another ex-Nelson, Jez.
Another ex-Nelson player that has gone to Clitheroe. I think, and he got 9. So we've got at this stage we've got him 36 for 2, and I think they are getting behind the run rate a little bit there. Were you quite confident at that stage, Dean, as a team? The way you were all fielding well, you were all up for it. How did you feel the game was going then?
Yeah, I think we all felt pretty good about it collectively. Actually, it was a funny wicket actually because it was almost so good that it was a little bit difficult. It was so good for bowling on. Not that it was doing a lot laterally, but it was just coming through at a pace that you're not really used to, and so it was. Usually if you watch that at a county level, you go, this is 180, 190 pitch, whereas actually, amateur cricket, we were probably around par, maybe 10 shy of par, something like that.
Yeah.
But we felt good about it after 5. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got the decent starting, but then I think that's where their pro obviously, could work things out, and then between him and is it Mulligan?
Sam Mully.
Yeah, they put 60 odd on, which I think that's really taking it away. Other than you getting them out quite close together. But then Dibben, Kyle O'Connor. To be fair, I'm not taking anything away from you lads, but watching it looked quite comfortable. I think there's only 3 balls spare.
Yeah, it flattered us a little bit in the end, Jez.
Yeah, I think so. I think we needed 2 quick wickets, maybe over 17 or 18, to put them under any pressure. But it was a good performance. I felt, because of the start. I think, and the T20 the way it is, you're always in with a shout because there is quite a few other games. Let's just talk about the live footage of it on YouTube. I didn't realise it was on for that game, Gary. Did you pick it up from our website that it was on?
Oh, I think Adam sent the link out.
Right, okay. And it was good footage, I thought, did you?
Yeah, it was a little bit, just because of the angle it was, which sometimes is better than certainly when you've not got Sky Sports or whatever. But the angle it was, I thought, that's okay, because you can get a bit of perspective on the wicket and the shots. But it just meant there was too much of the other side of the ground completely out of view. And so if they played a shot, you're basically watching the batters to see if they're charging for a single or they're going to push for 2. And then all of a sudden, some umpire wears 4 and some captain's got his head in his hands because there's been a fumble off boundaries, and you're trying to piece it all together. Oh, that's what must have happened, But actually, the quality was really good. It was a pity because I got a sniff early on before the game that there was going to be a guest commentator. And I think when I logged on at the start, there was some chatter going on. You could actually hear some sound between somebody who was obviously just at the side of the camera talking and everything like this. When they come to start the broadcast, it was all breaking up, and you could hear people saying, "Well, is it switched on? Is it not switched on?" And then all of a sudden it just went dead. Oh, we'll do without it, and that was it. So it was a shame.
Yeah. I think there was. I think did 3 or 4 commentators as such lined up to do that, but it wouldn't work properly. And from all accounts, our commentator, I can't remember who it was, but I think he had got a few lines ready for getting out there. And I spoke to him afterwards down at club, and I think he was 12 pints into a barrel, and he told me a few stories, but we can't repeat them.
So you spoke to him after in club, even though you couldn't remember who it were?
You should be a detective, Duke, shouldn't you?
Did he still have his legal representation with him?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He still had his. Anyway, it's Frank Entwistle, so Luke and he was ready for giving some right stick out, apparently. But so who knows? So then, unfortunate. We came second. I think we deserved to come second in it, and let's see what happens for the other T20 games. So if we can move on there, chaps, if that's all right. If we move on to playing Clitheroe again in the league the Sunday after that, if that's about right. Just can you talk me through the build up to that, Dean? Was everything all right? How was things? People getting there on time?
Yeah, people there on time.
Good.
Not rushed, Joe. You weren't rushed.
No,
okay,
I was
good.
in prime time, Gary.
Everyone else seemed fine. Yeah, I may have had some things, but it seemed good, and everyone was on time. So yeah, it was all right.
Good. So Clitheroe have won the toss, and they've elected to bat. Is it similar? I didn't go over to watch that game. I watched a little bit on the YouTube later. Was it similar sort of position, the wicket?
It was the same one.
On the square, the same one. So it was good enough to bat on to play on again. So that's good. Oh, go on, Joe. Tell us.
I think the wicket on Friday benefited from it being later in the evening and the really hard pink ball, because on Sunday I would have described it as an abrasive surface.
Yeah.
Which chewed up our ball.
Yeah, it was bad.
Really?
It was very dry.
It was rock hard, but it just tore our ball to pieces.
Right. That's it. And both sides of it, you couldn't keep one side going and see if it were doing any reversing?
No.
Don't think so.
Were their ball the same?
Wasn't there long enough to see it, Gary, to be honest.
Yeah, me and Dean can't possibly comment on that,
Gary. Got the wrong two people onto that topic.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. So did it affect clearly it affected our bowling performance.
The other thing is that Francois was injured.
He pulled his move.
Yeah. Finchy was in the bubble, as was discussed previously. Johnny Whitehead was away. Hawkey couldn't walk. Could only walk with aids. No.
Right.
He couldn't.
What?
He couldn't walk unaided. Sorry.
Walk unaided is the line that we keep using.
Sorry.
For those who don't know, he'd done a charity walk from coast to coast in full fireman's regalia, and during the week, and he wasn't fit to play a weekend.
You can still donate. So I think he had an infected shin or something like that, and so he couldn't walk properly.
So Tommy Robinson made his Lancashire League debut
and opened the bowling and did a good job.
Was just on that. Tom was told 10 minutes before, and it's probably the best way to do this. But Tom was told 10 minutes before the start that he was going to open. To say that he had no time at all to prepare. He did really, really well, actually.
Oh, that's really good to hear, because Tom York Robinson, for people who only watch the first team or listen to this and don't, is he 16 yet?
15
no,
years.
15.
Yes.
He's enormous.
Yeah, you're right.
So this lad's 15 years of age. He's played at the club for the last he's come right through the junior section. Not from being a little dot, but I think it's fair to say he's been there for the last 3, 4, 5 years, Joe Martin.
I'd say 3 years, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and he has got tons of runs in the junior sections, in the under 13s, etc. as he's moved through, and he's a quality bowler. So he's coming to the first team along with we've got Simmies come in, I believe.
Yeah, Simmy.
And obviously Tom's in there as well, and Joe Martin's opened the batting for us. So we're bowling first, 48 for none before we get our first wicket. Like you said, Tom's bowled well enough for the 4 overs he's bowled. Paddy Martin's opened the bowling. I'm assuming that's because it's so dry. Is that about right?
out of necessity, I think, Jez.
Yeah, we didn't have another seamer, Jez, really.
Right, okay.
We were
so then you've Ben and Toxie have done the seam up, and then you've after Tom. So it's 220 is a decent enough score if you're saying that the pitch is not as good as it was on the Friday. Did you fancy chasing that? Was it their pro got 100?
He batted very well, their pro, but pulled his hamstring or part of his knee.
Yeah.
Towards the end of his batting innings.
Right, okay.
He wasn't coming out, was he, for the second innings?
No.
Well,
initially,
not initially when we said that. So I think I don't know what their plan was, but they asked Ben if they could have a sub fielder.
Right.
And Ben said you can, but he can't come on and bowl. Not the sub fielder. The pro can't come back on and bowl if you have a sub fielder. So the pro can either go on and bowl and field and come on and bowl, but if he's waiting off and we give you a sub fielder or you get a sub fielder, he can't come back on and bowl.
Oh, right. I didn't realise that had happened. I mean, and I think that's very reasonable. Gary X.
I think it's in the rules.
Yeah.
Gary Von Moorhausen, I think that's reasonable, do you?
It's certainly more reasonable than a game I remember with East Lancs.
Go on, what happened then?
Do you not remember Andy Clegg?
Yeah, of course, yeah, go on.
So I think his missus was about to pup, and he got the call. So I think they popped him up the batting order a couple of places, and he swung from his arse and got a quick 60 or something daft like that. Then jumped in the car and went to hospital. Yeah. And Mark Lomas came in with his sandwich at tea time and asked if he could have a sub fielder, and he got a right royal send off.
I love that. Yeah, and he was sulking, weren't he?
Oh, he was they were fuming at first. You know, remember as they were walking out, they're all shouting at the door, "We gotta kill him!"
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And how did the game go?
We got stuffed.
Yeah, with 10 men.
They
yeah.
fielded
They did 9 fielders, and we still got stuffed.
Yeah. No, I do cracky. That was funny that day when they were screaming in our dressing room, "We're going to kill him." So no, good on Ben for that. I think that's fair enough. You can't just come on a bowl and then go off again. So how did they manage that? Did we give him a sub fielder and he did bowl?
No, he went on. The question, Jez, that was actually posed was, do you mind if he has a sub fielder while he has a bit to sort himself out? Which is not how it works, is it?
No, you can't do that really.
No.
Were they sulking? Were they sulking at Ben? Or?
No, he didn't.
Right.
Dibby just said, yeah, fair enough.
Right, so...
just going back to their innings, Jez, do you not think it's one of those, when you look at the card, and I must admit I only watched the second innings on the streaming, but when you look at the card, it's one of those strange scores. The 220 for 6, and your pros ended up 102 not out, batting at 3.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say we won sort of mega easy, but, sort of 2 or 3 overs to spare. It feels like, if they'd have been 18 for 3 and they get 220 for 6, you can sort of see how that's panned out. But they've had decent partnerships along the way, mainly. Just a couple in the middle there that went sort of within 15, 20 runs. Do you felt that you got out of jail a bit there, Dean or Joe? Or do you think that actually that were about a par score?
I think really what it actually does is show how good his innings was, because everybody else really struggled a little bit, especially in the first half. I know there's a couple of scores in our innings, but Jack Dewhurst batted a long time for his 16, and it wasn't through lack of trying. He was grafting, and he just couldn't really get it away. So I think it does more to show how good Mansour's innings was more than anything else. And I think actually with him, he got injured when he was around 80 or something, didn't he, Joe? And I think he would probably say himself that he probably left maybe 20 or 30 out there because he was not right.
He stopped running properly, didn't
he? Yeah, he couldn't run, and he wasn't really hitting from a base. So when he was trying to accelerate a little bit at the end, he just couldn't really get it away properly.
So a weekend bowling lineup's done pretty well then into the reverse side of that coin.
Yeah. Absolutely.
A really good effort on a difficult pitch. Because I know I said that it's a brace. It was still, you could hit through the line of the ball.
You could hit through the line. It wasn't. Yeah. It was consistent. Let's say at least.
Well, me and Dean.
You're right, Gary. There, it could have been 240 for 6 with 50 overs. Might have been a little bit more because there's still some batters left there when you look at it. So we're going out to bat. When did you know you were opening the batting, Joe? Was it something that were planned or?
Thursday, I think.
Right, good.
You don't like to be rushed.
Me and Dean had a bit of a net, didn't we?
Yeah, how did that go, Joe?
Well, I'm a bit out of practice.
Do you reckon you chased a few wide ones on Thursday as well?
You absolutely did. I kept whacking it. Admittedly, yeah. But I said to Dean halfway through, I said, because Ben told me that I had to have a net. Typically, I don't like. Right. So I had to have a net with Dean, and halfway through, I said, I don't know how long I'm supposed to do, and I don't really know what Ben wants me to do. So we're just going to throw for a bit, and then we'll see what happens. And then I walked out after about 50.
Yeah, we got asked to move nets, and Joe took it as an opportunity to not bother anymore.
To not carry on.
All right, I see. So you're out 7 balls, Joe.
Yeah.
Obviously a great knacker.
Well, I spoke to Ben about it. Marcus Sharp's a very, very good bowler. I don't know if you played against him, Jez or Gary. I don't know. Maybe not. He wouldn't have played in our league. But he's a very, very good bowler. And in fact, he's outstanding. Doesn't go for many runs.
Yeah.
It's the same line and length every single ball. Moves it off the seam both ways. Very, very good bowler. He bowled me a slightly shorter one that I left. Yeah, sorry.
Joe, I mean, just to come in there, you say he's a very, very good bowler. If me and Gary had played against him, he must be very, very old as well.
He'll be in his 50s, I would.
Must be in his 50s, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Right,
okay.
51 he is.
I have another story that I can tell you about Marcus Sharp later as well that is embarrassing on my behalf. But he bowled me a slightly shorter one early that I left. And I thought, I probably could have cut that one or back foot drive or something like that. And then he just bowled one that I thought, all right, that's in what could be my half. And as it appeared, it wasn't. And I edged it to second slip. And as I was walking off, I thought, he's been doing that to better players for about 30 years. So, these things happen. But me getting out, I think, gave the team the impetus to then go and bat properly.
So the pros come in then. How's that gone? He's batted quite a while there, hasn't he, for his 15?
Yeah, batted very well. Yeah. He sort of...
Did a job?
Yeah, batted with Ben for a long time. And I think the thing about these games, and I don't know whether Dean will agree with me, is you've got to stay in it. Yeah. You can go all guns blazing at the start, but you can be out of it back with 20 overs gone. You've got to stay. You've got to take the game as deep as you can. Yeah. And Paz allowed us to do that, I think, before Frankie came in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Frankie gets. Yeah.
What was Marcus Sharp, by the way? Marcus Sharp's got 344 minor county wickets.
Yeah, I think he's the leading wicket taker for Cumberland.
Yeah.
He's played. No, he's in Wisden 1998 and 97.
And that's not a current photo, is it, Joe? Either. I think he might have got mixed up with yours, Dean.
Yeah, it's an old picture.
He's he is very, very good. He is consistently, 15 overs for 20 every week. No matter what he's bowling, no matter what he's bowling on, he can bowl on. He was talking about it afterwards, and he said he likes them hard underneath with a bit of wet on top. And don't look at me like that, Joe. And he was saying that's not really his pitch, and yet he still found a way to do it.
Yeah, he's a physio, Jez, and I went. My mum had an operation on her foot, and we took her to the hospital.
This is golden content, this, isn't it? Bloody hell.
took her to the hospital, Joe, Jez. Yeah.
Joe, can we just start again? So your mum needs an operation on her foot.
She'd had an operation on her foot.
She'd had an operation on the foot, and you and your dad took her to...
I took her to the hospital because she couldn't drive. And this was a good few years ago. Marcus Sharp was the physio, and I, having read the whole of Wisden 1997 and 1998, was a bit starstruck. So when I knew who he was, because he bowled against me before. So I started reeling off all his figures from the Benson and Hedges Cup from those years.
Wow.
And he kept looking at me. He went, oh, you got 148 off 9 overs against Gloucester, didn't you? The Minor Counties. To which you were, really well bowled.
Then he took out a restraining order.
Yeah.
You played some MTC stuff with him as well, haven't you?
I do play MTC stuff with him now, and we don't discuss that story.
Why not?
No. Very nice chap. Very nice chap.
I just can't find it at the moment, but it says at the bottom of that scorecard his last game in the Lancashire League.
Yeah, because he didn't play this weekend. So
it only means up to that point.
Yeah, so he hasn't retired.
Okay. There'll be like a formula on it, won't there, to point that out?
Right, I see. Right, yeah, there'll be them formula things.
Same with France.
So he's how long's he played at Clitheroe?
He started there as a junior, but then moved and pro'd for Lytham, amongst other clubs. And
he came back to Clitheroe.
Came back to Clitheroe. And came back to Clitheroe.
So you're out.
I'm out, very much so.
Yeah. You know, like you're saying, the pro's doing a good job. Frankie's come in getting 35.
Yeah.
And you're 100% right what you say, Joe. I know I'm massive into this. Let's be positive and let's play good, positive cricket. But you don't want to be 5 or 6 down off 20 overs and you've got a youngish side, you know, with an experienced player. So I have it all day long. And if it's on a good track and you've still got 1 or 2 of the top players in, it is possible to score 100 off the last 10.
Yeah.
You know, if that is what's required. So I'll have that all day long. How did Paddy bat on that game? Because I've been really impressed with him this last few weeks.
He batted extremely well. He was
good.
Very positive. I mean, I don't know, Gary watched the stream. He was very, very positive with how he attacked, but was sort of measured in it. I mean, Ben batted very well. He batted extremely well first up and was injured. I think he pulled his intercostal or something. Abdominal, sorry. And Ben batted really well. And he said that he got out, but probably had to go at that point because he said he was exhausted. He bowled 11 overs and then batted, and it was really hot as well. So he batted really well. And did Paddy bat with Francois? Again, I was walking around.
Paddy and Francois for a little bit, and then Paddy and Charlie towards the end. Yeah,
and I think it was when Charlie came in, Paddy, the energy went up a little bit, and the running were brilliant between the wickets as well. Yeah. You know, I think they turned a few what appeared from the stream again, not being able to see a third of the pitch, but looked like they were putting fielders under pressure, and there were looked like Clitheroe were a bit of chatter going on in field that, you know, we were getting back on top at that point by the looks of it. That was my interpretation.
I think you're right there, Gaz, and I think that's often when Chaz is at his best, actually, when he's under pressure. And not that he was under pressure, but it's a pressure situation where he has to score at a particular rate. And that's when he operates at his best, I think. And Paddy and Charlie's partnership was really, really good, really, really measured. And it was a proper piece of batting. Proper partnership.
Yeah, they're in charge. You know, it's one of those where they're in charge. And the longer they went on, you know, bearing in mind we've still got Dean and Blaise, you know, and Toxie's playing well. They're then thinking we're going to have to bowl these out to win this. We can't do this by maidens or dot balls. So Paddy gets out. Dean, you come in. What happened there? I was watching that little bit, but obviously we're at long on. What happened there?
I just thought I'd let Blaise have a go. To be honest, Jess. He hadn't had a decent bat in a few weeks. I thought.
Yeah. Let him come in.
Down. We'll let Blaise have a go. It was difficult, really. Left arm spin isn't my favourite thing in the world anyway, but Ali Ross had bowled really well actually, and it was just drifting in a little bit, and it was a bit nervy and a bit of a poke, and I just didn't quite get there. I played the right shot, but with absolutely no conviction whatsoever. So yes,
it happens. It happens, Dean. And like you said, you know, Blaise has come in, and then I think, Paddy's out just, but you go in for Paddy. So so Blaise has come in and again I've watched that. I mean that 6 is just rolling back the years for Blaise, weren't it? It was a fantastic shot. Were you on the game, Gooch?
No, I was watching on the stream.
Yeah, that was a great shot. And I think that took the pressure off. Their heads went down when he hit that straight 6. And like we said, Toxie batted well, running between the wickets, and hit those 2 4s. So that's that it really is a fantastic win.
Gordon, send more house to save the house.